It's not good. Ron, clean your glasses now.
I will. Okay.
Okay.
Oh no! Mid jingle.
It's the remix version.
I know. Welcome to the Ron Ross Radio Show podcast at night. How you doing? I know we couldn't do it today. John is traveling. Here's the irony of the whole thing. John usually is in South Carolina, where he his humble abode is on Hilton Head Island. Now he's about 52 minutes down the road from me right now.
Just rented a car.
Washington, D.C. I know.
I didn't even think about that.
That's all good. It's all good. That's fine. Welcome in, though. Thank you for hanging out with us today. It's on a loop, apparently.
Yeah, apparently it plays. All right.
For May 27th on 2025. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Yesterday was Memorial Day. I got a couple of stories about that. John, did you do anything special for Memorial Day?
Tried to do as little as possible while honoring and remembering those who had served this great nation of ours.
Well, pay the ultimate price. That was the thing. Sometimes, and I always see those Facebook.
Well, I mean, I should have said in service of the country and paid the ultimate price. I should have said that. Sorry.
And no, don't apologize. It's all good. We got an email that was like, listen, don't try not to do Happy Memorial Day, because really it's a solemn. It's solemn, even though it's a holiday. They during the Monday holiday. Here's how old I am. You might remember it, but maybe not. I remember the press about the Monday holiday bill, the uniform holiday bill, when they moved holidays to a Monday so you could have a 3-day weekend. It was for the federal government workers. And I remember that. There was a they called it the Monday holiday bill, and they made it, I think, was that the Nixon administration?
Nixon.
Early? Yeah, because remember, he was elected in 68. I think it may have been 70. I'll have to look that up.
Nixon, he's our man. If he can't do it, no one can.
I remember that. All right, so Greatest wife Avery and I have a tradition now that we've established a couple of years ago. We love to go camping, and we love to go. We're tent campers as well, and we set up a whole bunch of apparatus. We've got the camp kitchen, and we've got a stove, and we bring all this food, and then we go and we have a bunch of families that we do camping with. 2 other couples. One of the couples and maybe brings their sons, but anyway, so it was, and I'm sorry, and a third woman was with us as well, and so we tried out this new camping, new to us, this new facility to us called Calvin's is a Gap in Pennsylvania. So. Gosh, less than an hour away from us, just above Chambersburg and Mercersburg, Pennsylvania.
And we're in the I-81 corridor.
Yeah, we took I-81, and so I took Thursday and Friday off from my job, and then I was off on yesterday for Memorial Day, and I took that day as well. And so a nice long holiday camping and with friends. And earlier in the week, we're watching the weather, and there was a nor'easter that blew through Pennsylvania. And if you looked at the radar map, basically it was just this swirling, it would rain, and then it would curl around and go to the north, and it would pick up more moisture, and it would come back around, and it would rain again. And it also brought way unseasonable temperatures for late May.
Yeah.
We were down into the 40s, probably even like 39, 38 at night. And we never really got out of the 50s, I think, during the day. It was constant gray clouds, and we had storms that blew through. And if it wasn't windy, there was a constant, I'm going to say 41-degree breeze that was coming through, constant, sliced right through you the entire time.
Sounds like fun.
Stinking time, the entire time. And it was, so all the wood was wet. So if you went to go foraging for firewood, the wood was wet. So you would buy firewood, and then, and I learned this through years of doing this, but you have the fire triangle, which is fuel, right? Oxygen
Right.
and heat. And we didn't have heat. And the wood was cold and it was wet, and it was trying to set these fires, the campfires. And we didn't really do anything. We brought all of these games. We were going to play games and just have fun. And all of these, and we didn't do anything. We sat around the fire, and I was basically angry the whole time.
Oh,
When we were driving, I know. It was, and you knew this, we knew the weather was going to happen earlier in the week. Greatest wife ever even said, maybe we should cancel and just use these couple of days to go out on day trips with our friends and go to restaurants or wineries or whatever. Because we had this time, and then go home and sleep in the comfort of our own home. We camped, and the saving grace was we got electric sights.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So we had an electric blanket, and so that was fun.
Smart.
And so, yeah, right. So we could sleep at night, and then I could also bring my CPAP machine because I'm an old man and I don't know how to sleep. I kill myself, and with the snoring and the apnea and all that stuff, I can't even sleep right. My heart doesn't beat correctly, and now I can't. I can't even sleep right. Can't even do that. So I had the CPAP, and then the bonus was at the top of this mountain, wherever we were, and which is a lovely park and these great sights. There was 0 cell phones.
Oh, hey, fascinating.
Not that I wanted to be online, not that I want to sit there and be on Facebook and with my head stuck in my phone. No, but I would like to be able to access my radar,
forecast,
which is
weather.
an app, so I could see when storms were coming. And really, all you had to do was just rely on the. Oh, that's great. Was that rain? That's rain. All right, everybody, bring the chairs inside the canopies. So now,
wait. A modern camping place has 0 cell phones.
We were in a shadow. We were in a shadow area. No, we were in a shadow area.
So was there a place you could go?
Yeah, you drove down to the and thanks, by the way, AT&T. Thanks for your coverage. Good job.
This is where the T-Mobile thing with the satellite coverage with your phone would have come in handy.
Well,
it's in beta right now.
Okay. Well,
so I signed up for it.
Oh, good. So well,
I'll let you know how it goes.
Please do. And no, we would drive down to the camp or the park office, which was quarter of a mile from where we were, and I could get 1 bar.
Single bar.
There.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And then we get a text. Greatest wife ever and I get a text in the middle of the night, because if you moved around somewhere, the phone found a sweet spot. All of a sudden, you'd have one. All of a sudden, we'd get a text, and boop, from somebody going, "Hey, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Oh," and you're trying to answer, and no bars. And I'm, boop, 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 boop. So we didn't have that, which was great actually, because it facilitated conversation.
What's that?
Also, it was a new feature in that when we had a discussion on who played that part, couldn't look it up. You just had to sit there and be wrong.
It's like ye olden days.
Like ye olden days. Could not look it up. I even caught one of our campers, Tracy. I even brought it up. We said, oh, blah, blah, blah. I wonder what band sang that or whatever. And I said, but you can't look it up. And she literally had her phone, and she was like, oh, shut up. Curses. But I got used to it. And Greatest Wife Ever was, and I did get used to it. And it was nice to not be, now I didn't like being out of touch because of my mom and dad. That situation. You always want to be in touch and be able to, somebody to reach you in the event of an emergency. But other than that, it was really kind of nice to be detached and not have a whole lot of
I
yeah.
think you just forget how connected we are. Like I'm watching the AMAs the other night, okay?
Mhm.
And we were commenting about how it was like the old person AMAs. Like all the acts that we're performing seem to be in our generation. And I started looking like as we're watching, I'm looking up how old is Gwen Stefani? How old is Janet
Jennifer
Jackson?
Lopez.
How
Yeah.
old is Jennifer Lopez? And so, I mean, Janet Jackson, 59, Jennifer Lopez, 55, Gwen Stefani, 55. Now, I would have never known that had I not been sitting there with my cell phone looking it up. Uh, but
I
yeah, it just shows how dependent.
I just changed the question of the day, by the way.
Oh, did you?
I did. I'm changing it now because now
Well,
I
I'm
know.
watching you change it now. You look at that. Ron's typing. You can't see that, but
Right.
I'm
I'm sorry.
watching over
You're right.
here.
You're right. I'm sorry.
See
I'll get
what?
to that in just a second. So
Okay.
that was our camping trip. It was 5 days. And
5 days without.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
That was like
Sunday.
when you used to go on cruises,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
internet was ridiculously expensive, so you would get it for like an hour a day, and then you would be like, okay, I'll just check my email, blah, 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 and I'm done.
Well, one day we got tired of it.
Okay.
And Sunday, was it Sunday? I think it was. Um,
Hmm.
Now we all had meal assignments. We divvied it up. So you either
Yeah.
did breakfast and
Yes.
did a breakfast and a dinner.
Yeah.
And which I love to do. And our friend Jason, whom I've talked about before, he's the musician in the um, Crash the Limo. But
Right.
he and his wife he's got a Blackstone griddle, right? And you can put the grill box on it if you want, and it's got the big propane canister. Taste the heat, taste the meat, not the heat.
Not the
Um,
heat.
yeah,
Taste the meat, not the heat.
propane and propane products. So he had
Bobby?
stop dancing now. Hey,
If you're going to
Dan.
smoke that cigarette, smoke it. God.
Okay.
I hope
So,
that series comes back, by the way.
probably one of the greatest theme songs too, done by the Refreshments, because they also
The
had another
refresh?
song. Yeah, the Refreshments. Anyway, King of the
Oh,
Hill.
right, right,
Right.
right.
So we decided the one morning, because I told Michelle, I'm like, don't worry about it. Skip it. We're not doing breakfast because we're leaving. We're blowing this popsicle stand, and we're gonna try to find something. We all piled into one car.
Miami
And
Vice reference.
right. What's that?
Miami Vice reference.
Oh yeah.
Blowing the popsicle stand.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Let's
sorry.
blow this pop stand. That was a Crockett reference from
Gotcha.
Miami Vice. Just letting people know in
Was it
case they're
really?
curious.
I don't know where
Yes.
I got that.
Blow this pop stand.
I guess I
Yeah,
thought
like
that.
he used to say that on Miami Vice.
Right.
Yeah,
So so we
great.
ventured down and we found a farmer's market, which was okay. And then we decided to try to we were looking for wineries and distilleries,
Okay.
because we decided, one of us is going to be the DD and the rest of us were going to drink. And
Okay.
because you couldn't drink in the park, by the way.
Who picked
Camping.
that park?
I could not drink in the
Right.
park. It's
I
illegal
mhm, right,
inside the
right,
Pennsylvania park.
right.
So
Got it.
we dipped down into, I believe, Mercersburg, Pennsylvania, and we found this restaurant, Stoners, which we all laughed at,
Good
but
name.
was really, actually, it really was I think it was a tavern from back in the day. Really nice. Anyway, got a couple of Bloody Marys, had some fish and chips. We were warm,
Right.
and yeah,
Yeah, that's
it was, the
positive.
weather had turned out just a hair while we were down off the mountain, and you didn't have that cutting breeze that was slicing right through you, and you didn't have to be within 6 inches of a fire to maintain some sort of bodily warmth. And so we did that, and then we found a distillery, and nobody was there. We went into the distillery, so the women sat at the bar and they did a little flights and tasted all the stuff. And then we played cards and we just and we had fun. Then we went back and froze. But it was nice to be able to get out. And then Sunday there was some sort. Well, Sunday afterwards. After that, we got back, and then after that, there was there was some sort of break in the weather. So we decided, the greatest wife ever and I decided to go and check out the lake because there was supposed to be fishing and swimming and canoeing and hiking and all the things, but we never left our site because it was so stinking cold and raining. We went down to the lake, and there were people there. There were women in 2-piece bathing suits, and I still had 3 layers on. I had a t-shirt on, then I had a flannel shirt over top of that, then I had a hoodie, and then I had my jacket over top of that, and the hoodie was up, and I had a bandana on because I didn't have a hat,
baseball hat.
So I was using that to keep the heat in, and then the hoodie on top, and we're walking around there, and they're like, yeah, and we're like walking around like mountain people, like, hey, what's happening here? Why are they all dressed so scantily? Don't they know it's freezing outside? And it was, we really were, it was an eye opener because where we were sequestered up in our little campsite, and we never ventured from there because it was so cold. That actually there was a whole other world happening, and these people were trying to enjoy their Memorial Day, and they were in the lake. Kids are in the lake, and we're sitting there going, how are they doing that? Isn't it like, are there ice chunks in there? What's going on? We were aghast and taken aback. So that was our vacation. So then we got up Memorial Day Monday morning, and it was just, how fast can we pack this up and get out of here? And while we're doing that, the ultimate slap was beautiful azure blue skies.
Of course, as you're
light, puffy clouds.
Yeah.
I actually took my coat off and took my hoodie off and was breaking a sweat while I was trying to pack up all of our belongings and get out of there.
Oh, good Lord.
Then the trip back.
Yeah. Oh, no.
So I decided, because when we were out running around, we ran across Route 30, which runs east-west across Pennsylvania, lower Pennsylvania. And I'm like, oh, I know Route 30. I know it very well. I know exactly. Route 30 runs into 15, and I'll just take 15 south all the way down into Maryland and Emmitsburg, and then and it goes right into Frederick.
Sounds beautiful. Sounds like a plan.
Right? Mm-hmm. Perfect. Now, we're not going to be on these back roads, or we're not going to be running around.
It'll be fun. We'll go home a different way.
I'm not going to get on 81. Right. So I'm going to
you won't have to fight the trucks on 81.
Right. Yeah. So I get on, and we drive down, and I hit 30, and I'm like, we're coming from the north, so I'm going to make a left, and we're heading east. I know exactly where we're going. And we go through little towns. We counted, and this is not an exaggeration, at least 15 Family Dollars or Dollar Generals just on Route 30 between Chambersburg, Mercersburg, and Gettysburg as we're driving east. It was unreal.
They're like poison ivy. They're contagious.
It was ridiculous. I contended with one. If you stood on the roof of that one, you could probably see the other one that we had just passed.
That's the idea.
Not half mile up the road.
Right.
So then
they just keep multiplying.
But it was a brilliant idea. The greatest wife ever liked it. The weather was nice. I didn't even turn the radio on. We just would she's like, I kind of like the silence. And so we just talked, which was also great. This was left over from the not using our phones kind of crap. That's right. Weird. So yeah, it was awesome. And we're just, talking and looking at this, that, and the other thing. All of the Pennsylvania towns around us as we're driving through, and we're coming up on Gettysburg, and I know the 15 is in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Correct.
And we're driving through, and we see monuments to the Battle of Gettysburg. And of
Yeah.
course, this is where President Lincoln gave the famous Gettysburg Address. And we're riding up, and the traffic is starting to thicken up a little bit. And we're going, okay, well, we're coming into Gettysburg, and then we're almost at the center square of Gettysburg, and we're sitting at this light. And the greatest wife ever sees these Mennonite women, not Amish, but Mennonite women,
Correct.
who are walking by us.
Yeah.
And they have the bag chairs, and they're walking, crossing the street.
Here we go.
Chairs. And she looks at me, and I look at her, and we went, is there a Memorial Day parade in Gettysburg? We were like, oh no.
Did we just go through?
Then she calls up, hold on, she calls up the map, Google Maps. She goes, oh, it's solid red. Oh, it's black beyond that. It's
what are red. You doing?
We are surrounded by all this. What are we doing? Okay. Why are we in the middle of Gettysburg, which would be a huge Civil War battle, and we're honoring the war dead of the United States.
Right.
So there's a huge parade, a commemoration that's going on. So I'm like, oh no. I felt like the biggest idiot. Oh, let's drive through Gettysburg on Memorial Day. And so I'm sitting at that light, and I'm going, I'm taking a right. I don't even know where we're going, but I'm taking a right. And I think we're going to be head south, and we've got to find Route 15 somehow.
Find a way to get to Route 15.
And I took a right. Yeah. And once we got through the town proper, and there was still so much battlefield that is around that area. I don't know if you've ever been to Gettysburg, but so much. Yeah. And all these monuments, and all of these elderly people who had the orange traffic vests on, and they're directing people for parking. And so many people are coming in as we're trying to leave. Like, no, we don't want to go into the Gettysburg Memorial Day. We want to leave. We want to leave your town. We'll leave space for you. We'll leave so you can have 2 spaces. You can use our car space. We're leaving. We're getting out of here. So finally we got out of there, and we hit 15, and I'm driving down 15 South. Now, 15 South, if you know anything about me, and I've described this before, but I grew up in central Maryland and Frederick County. Now, I was in the southernmost part of Frederick County in Monrovia, but I went to high school in the northernmost part of Frederick County, an hour away, at St. Joseph's Catholic High School. And St. Joseph's Catholic High School is gone now, because I was in the last graduating class in 1982. I knew you were going to do that. I beat you to it. And they closed the school down because and it was a vicious circle. So, they didn't want to raise the tuition. There weren't enough kids going to the school. And so it just wasn't financially viable to keep the school open. So that's why we were in the last.
I was in the last circle. I eat because I'm unhappy.
I'm unhappy because I eat so much.
I eat. It's a vicious circle.
That's what it was. So the snake eating its tail. And so we and I had to go onto Paul Street in Emmitsburg, Maryland. Emmitsburg, Maryland is right over the line of the Pennsylvania line in Maryland. And one of the things that was defining about Maryland is that the drinking age in Pennsylvania was 21. So
but
Emmitsburg had all of the liquor stores, and you could get beer and wine. So you would cross the Pennsylvania line and get your beer and wine in Emmitsburg, and then you turn around and drive back into Pennsylvania.
What was the Maryland drinking age? Was it 19 or 18 or 19?
It was 18 for beer and wine.
18. Yep.
It was 18 for beer and wine, and then there was the whole debacle when they raised it to 21, but they grandfathered it. I missed it. The greatest wife ever missed it. Right. It was, you had to be 18 by July 1st, and the greatest wife's ever birthday was July 30th.
That happened to me in Ohio. I was grandfathered in, and people in my same class were not grandfathered.
I was not grandfathered in because I'm in September, and so I missed it. And then always we kept chasing it. So then you had to be 19, and then you had to be 20 until they finally got it to 21. And all my friends. And now I did go to the University of Maryland, College Park, and just over the district line, it was still 18. Yay!
Woo!
So I would go to Georgetown, which is where you would party. But anyway, we go into Emmitsburg. I digress. Shocker. So I get into Emmitsburg, and I drive along DePaul Street, and I'm looking at a building. It's still there, and they're apartments. Whoever bought it and turned them into apartments. And so I just hope they weren't. And I sat there for a good minute or two, just staring at where I used to walk up those steps to go in the front door. The facade is all still the same.
Literal same building. Yeah, but okay.
The facade is still the same.
You got it.
And I'm just looking at it, and looking at the gym was to the left, and then it was 3 stories. Wasn't a very big school, St. Joseph's High School, and then across the street was the other building, satellite building that we could use, and then the rectory was for the Daughters of Charity, which was an order started by anyone? Catholics, Emmitsburg, Maryland. Anyone? Started by Saint Elizabeth Ann Seton, the first American-born saint.
Yes.
So
for Mount St. Mary's
and Mount St. Joseph's. There were 2 colleges in Emmitsburg, Mount St. Mary's and Mount St. Joseph's. Yeah. And Mount St. Joseph's was the women's college, and Mount St. Mary's was the men's college, and then Mount St. Mary's became co-ed. Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's what they did in Baltimore too, with Loyola and Mount St. Agnes, where my parents went.
Baltimore Loyola, not to be confused with Loyola of Chicago.
Correct.
Got it.
Correct. And so I stopped there, and I'm looking at the school, and I'm watching, and I'm getting a little melancholy.
Oh,
and I'm feeling very old because I'm 60, and I'm just looking, I'm remembering walking up those stairs, going into that school, which I did every day for 4 years to get my high school education, and that's where I got it. I'm just and the building basically is nothing. I mean, it's an apartment building. So, somebody sleeping or going to the bathroom where I learned physics. I don't know.
Why would you bring that up? I don't know.
Because that's what's happening. That's what's happening.
Someone's using the toilet.
That's right. Where I took religion class.
Where
I read A Tale of Two Cities, which was my favorite book. Anyway. So I just hope nobody looked out and was creeped out by the old man and sitting in the car just staring.
What was your wife doing while you were doing this?
She was quiet. She didn't say anything. She knew I was having a moment.
Oh,
she was very respectful.
That was
she was very nice. It was very nice.
Yeah.
And then we made our way home, and then we like to. Now I don't know if you've done this. If you're doing this, we like to do this because. Jenny and I, the greatest wave ever. Jenny and I, we love to people watch, right?
Oh, we do that all the time.
Okay, good.
And we
all
right. Well, it's a play-by-play sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Well, we were hungry, so we went to our local McDonald's.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, they did a pretty decent job. A quarter pounder with cheese hits the mark now because it's fresh. It's fresh, and they do it every time. And I'll see Jim Court, who is believe it or not, actually watching the live podcast right now, just said it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, which is the opening line to A Tale of Two Cities. Thank you, Jim, for that. I appreciate that. There's a far better thing that I do. Anyway.
One of the greatest opening lines ever.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
And so then we parked the car, and we're just looking out onto Route 40 in Frederick, which they call the Golden Mile. And so then we decided to play the car color game, which we like to play with our grandson. You couldn't pick white, and you couldn't pick black.
Okay.
And then we would just count the color. So I had blue, and I had red, she had blue.
Okay.
And it was fairly even, but you don't realize how many black and white cars there are on the road.
There's a lot
until you start trying to pick out other colors. And there are a lot of maroons, no real big bright red cars. And a few, but deep dark blues. There was one like
I have a,
periwinkle blue, which was very nice.
I have a dark.
But yeah, we love to do that. So we just sat there and
So, I mean, just to bring that up, when we used to travel as kids, we had two games similar to that we played. We played Caught a Bug,
oh
which
no.
was a Volkswagen Bug.
But hang on. What happened when you caught a bug?
No, what? Oh, you're talking about Punch Buggy. We
Punch
didn't we
buggy.
didn't do
Yeah.
Punch Buggy with the Caught a Bug. We just played Caught a Bug, and then we played the truck game, which was, you know, brands, essentially Mack Truck, International, Harvester, and then there were, I don't know,
Who else?
I forget, there were like three major brands or something like that. So
Didn't you try to get the truckers to blow their horn?
yeah, of course,
Sit
I
there in
mean,
the back.
especially if you were in the back of
They're
the
in the
Ford
back.
LTD 10-passenger station wagon, you would. But yeah, I don't know why. I can't remember. There used to be, there used to be more brands of trucks, and I can't remember what they were. But anyway, we would play that. So
We used
those
to
were the
run it.
two games,
Well, I just remember when you said
similar to the color game.
punch buggy that the daughter of the younger
No punch
was
back.
was playing with her friend and she was slugging Carolina
Oh,
in the arm. You just
yeah,
heard this ow! It's just
we
this
didn't do that.
bam. It was
That, or
horrible.
it was a construction sign game. Basically, the first person to spot a road construction sign
Ah,
would win
we
a
did.
point.
Well, it was the states with the state license plates and how many different states
We
can
could
you
do
find,
that too.
right?
Yeah.
And
These
I
were
was always
these were simpler times, Ron. We were not on the internet or on our
no.
iPads and things like that. We
Dude,
were
when we drove up from when dad drove up from well, we lived outside Raleigh when I was a little kid.
right.
So Garner, North Carolina, it was just my older brother and me. My younger brother
Yeah.
wasn't born yet. And we had to drive up to Baltimore to visit family, usually holiday time, Thanksgiving or something like that.
Yep.
And there were no seat belts in the 1964 Pontiac Tempest. I mean, they were there. Nobody used them.
Nobody
But we
used.
were just bounced around the back seat. I would literally at night stick my head in that back little dash,
Yeah.
and look up through the windshield and pretended I was an astronaut because this was, space travel was huge at this time. And and I'm just looking at the stars, just la la la. Sometimes I would, when I was little, I would fit down in the wheel well and put my head up on the foot well, and put
Yeah.
my head up on the hump in the middle where the transmission, where the drive shaft comes through.
God. Incredibly safe.
Oh,
Yeah.
completely safe.
Yeah.
And then dad had the AM radio on, just blasting Paul Harvey. Good day.
Good day.
And
Yep.
he had,
And
now the phrase that we always got, God bless them. I love them so much, my parents. I wish I could have expressed that to them at the time. And they're still around. They're still with me. But dad, and the Tempest, the Pontiac Tempest was a coupe. So it was not a 4-door. And so dad was a smoker.
two-door.
Dad was a smoker at the time.
Yeah.
Pall Mall Reds or Chesterfield Kings. Right. So he would crack the window
Right.
and smoke a cigarette with his AM radio playing. But Mom, Ron, that's my dad's name. Can you wind the window up? It's coming around, hit me on the back of the neck. And have I heard that once? I heard it 8
It's coming around and
billion times. It's coming around and hit me on the back of the neck.
Yeah. My dad used to crack the window for a different reason, Ron.
Yeah. Oh no, Dad. No, you can't do that now. Of course, we did that. We were boys.
I know.
Time to vent the cabin.
And nothing started the kids laughing and giggling for 30 minutes more than when that would happen. Oh my God. Oh,
It's still funny.
it was funny. It's still funny.
It's still funny.
It was
Nothing has
awful.
changed.
We were being hot boxed
by your father.
by
And he thought it was the
puppy
fun.
eggs.
He thought it was the
Oh,
funniest damn thing
oh, he
ever.
did too.
While he was torturing his poor sons.
Oh my
Dad!
God. Roll the windows down, hon.
Did I tell you? I never told you that.
Oh God.
So
So
this
funny.
now this car was Dad's pride and joy. And he
Yeah.
told me it was the first car he really ever it was his first new car that he bought, and it was for his young family. And he got
All right.
this. And Pontiac Tempest was a kick-ass little car, man. I mean, it wasn't even a little
I
car.
don't
It was a
even
sedan.
remember that. I'm gonna have to look it up.
The Pontiac 1964 Pontiac Tempest coupe,
Okay.
2-door.
Yeah.
But you know, the Pontiac Le Mans, they were all in like the same kind of style. Anyway, I find that about it later. Oh, and it was 3 on the tree. He had
Oh, yeah. There you go.
stick shift, baby. Stick
On the tree,
shift.
nonetheless.
On the right on
On the steering column.
steering column, right.
Yeah.
First was down here, and then up, and then across, and up was second, and then down for third. 3-speed.
Never driven one of those.
That was it. I remember watching him drive that.
Did you ever drive a car where it was on the tree?
No, it was always
No.
on the
On the floor.
Dad taught me how to drive a stick shift, but it was always on the floor. Yeah.
Yeah,
I learned
I remember being with friends whose parents drove with it on the tree, but yeah, never did it myself.
So let me take you up into Richmond, Virginia now.
All right.
And it's 1974, I believe.
Okay. All right.
And they are building an amusement park outside Richmond called King's Dominion.
King's Dominion, right.
But before they opened that up, they already had a section that was open called Lion Country Safari.
Oh,
And it was
yeah.
basically a zoo with lions and you had all
Monkeys?
kinds of
Did you have
there were
monkeys?
monkeys. You had
Okay, good.
what else did we have? There were gazelles and giraffes, and it was like the Serengeti, right?
Okay.
And you could drive through. So
Yeah.
Dad, being the wonderful father that he is, decided to take his
Oh, no.
hard-earned money
No.
and pay for his
No,
2
no,
stupid
no,
sons and his
no.
wife
Okay.
for us to drive through Lion Country Safari in August in a 1964 Pontiac Tempest.
No
with
air conditioning,
air
by the
conditioning.
way. Yeah, I saw that
With
coming.
no air conditioning.
We had a Plymouth Duster.
Hold on.
No air conditioning. Go ahead.
When you're in this park, you
Yeah.
can't have the windows down because
No.
a lion could come up and
No.
chew your face off.
No. Right.
There were
It
no
could.
railings. They were crossing the street directly in front of you.
They would
So
come say
the
hi.
windows had to be up.
Right.
So basically, my father, who was still smoking,
Oh, was he smoking while you're doing
no, he was. I don't think so.
that? Okay.
But it could have, because basically you had these wild animals looking at the meat being cooked in front of them as it was driving by. Well, I can't wait until they get down there. Are they
the
they're
oven.
medium rare? Are they medium rare yet? With my brother and I, with so much sweat, and we're just clawing at the window. Dad, can we roll down the window just a little, please?
Just a crack. Just a
And
crack.
It didn't matter. Even if you did, you were doing 7 miles per hour.
Right.
There
Yeah,
was
you
no
couldn't go
breeze.
fast.
There was no
Right.
breeze that was coming
No.
through.
Great
I love
Adventure
that.
in New Jersey did the same thing. They had a
Yeah.
wild animal safari. We did that, where you could not ride through if you had a vinyl top, because the monkeys would literally rip your vinyl top off.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I
Like,
believe it.
Seriously.
I believe it.
This was I still to this day remember that requirement, on the signs. If you have a car with a vinyl top, you are not permitted to go into the safari because the monkeys will
We'll rip the roof
rip
off.
the roof off.
And then your face right after that.
Yeah, after that,
I
it's
I remember then the
It's a
next
simpler
year.
time, Ron.
What's that?
It was a simpler time.
Simpler time. It was simpler time. There was no air.
Wild driving through wild
There was a
animal
lot,
safaris.
Paul
What is
Harvey.
wrong with
So
you?
I,
Yeah, yeah.
so that's the Greatest Wife Ever's definition of pure hell
Yeah.
was being in the car with her dad in the middle of August or whatever, no AC, the windows up, listening to Paul Harvey, and he's smoking. It's just like this.
That's pretty brutal.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah.
So anyway, um, then the next year they opened up King's Dominion. Now I had never known, I'd only known about carnival rides from
Right.
the Virginia State Fair, which was in and for local carnivals
And
mechanic,
local carnivals. Yeah.
right? And you had to go and buy tickets and all that. I had the concept of paying one price and riding anything you want as much as you want was not only alien to me, but it sounded like the greatest idea anybody ever had.
Ever. Right? No
Ever.
tickets. No ride tickets. Just come in, ride
75,
whatever you want.
75. I am 10 years old.
Right.
I'm at the height of my boyhood. I mean, I'm smack dab in the middle of it. I mean, I'm Evil Knievel is my hero. All right. It was Bugs Bunny on Saturday mornings. I had all the sugar cereal you could possibly ever want. And I had an amusement park that was less than a half hour from my house where you paid one price and you rode as much as you wanted.
Woohoo!
All day.
All day.
Well, it was freaking me out because
why?
Just a couple of years before, they had made that big announcement about Disney World.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I had to get to Disney World. Had to. Well, now
1972, by the way.
I had this right here. 3 short years later.
Yeah.
I've got King's Dominion.
Yeah.
And
so,
their affiliation at the time was with Hanna-Barbera. So when you went into King's Dominion, you had the International Street, and if you went to the left through the rainbow, that was Hanna-Barbera land. So Yogi's Cave, Scooby-Doo roller coaster, all of the things from there. And then I remember distinctly, here's why I'm bringing it back around, John. I remember going because you go into the Lion Country Safari land, and you could get on the beautiful, brand new, air-conditioned monorail to go through. Go through Lion Country Safari.
Right.
The year before we had traveled through.
Right.
And we were just basically suffering heat stroke, and I've never sweated like that in my entire life. And now you're sitting in the and you're hearing this to your left, please look at the pachyderm, the elephants, it was glorious.
I love the monorail.
Glorious. I loved that park. I used to go to King's Dominion all the time. And I think I've mentioned it before. For locals, they had a special $5 after 5 o'clock. Now this is 75, 76. So it was still a bit of money. But mom and dad would drop me off. Me and my brother and our friends drop us off, and then she would go home. Excuse us, and leave us at the amusement park at King's Dominion. First thing we do, we did the $5 and then got your hand stamped and you're in. First thing we did.
And the nice thing was parents trusted you to be able to just go. It was safe and
meet me here at 10 o'clock or meet me here at 9:30. And I'm like, Mom, the park doesn't close until 9:30. Yes, ma'am.
Right.
That was it.
No, I mean, I literally remember the first time that my parents said, John, you and your younger brother at that time, I only had one, which was Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good to go. If you want to go explore the Magic Kingdom and things like that, fine, go ahead. Enjoy. Wow.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Actually, I'm trying to think. Matt may have been back in the room at that point, but because he came 8 years after my youngest
Okay,
brother.
yeah. Well, that's the same age difference between
Yeah,
Greg
so
and me.
it was a
It's
long
9
time.
years. Yeah.
But I distinctly remember being able to go out, and I was, like a teenager. Gary was a couple years behind me,
Mhm.
and we were able to go explore. That was some of the greatest moments of our lives when our parents actually let go and said, "Go, you can do this." So
You
I don't know how you felt doing
you
the
felt
King's
so grown
Dominion,
up and so
right? Did
mature
you?
and
Right,
so responsible. I mean, the
right.
very first thing we did, you got your hand stamped, and then it was a full on sprint, full wide open sprint. Excuse me.
So what? What
All
did
the
you
way
go
down
to?
to the Rebel Yell double
Rebel
roller
Yell.
coaster.
Yeah,
First
yeah,
thing you
yeah.
did, ride it 5 times. 5 times in a row. You're there on
So
a Tuesday night. It's not a huge crowd.
Rebel Yell wooden roller coaster, right?
Yeah, it's a
I
double
think.
roller coaster too.
Yeah, I think. Okay. Yep.
It was a
Okay.
double side by side roller coaster.
Okay.
So yeah,
Right.
but it had the big giant hill. It's not called the Rebel Yell anymore. It's called the 76 Racer, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
because
right.
they yeah. But
Because
yeah,
I've
that
been
was
to King's Dominion in Ohio. So, like,
Kings Island. Kings Island.
well, yeah, King's Island. Sorry, King's
Right.
Dominion is where you went. King's
Correct.
Island. Sorry.
Same
Yeah.
company.
Yeah. Same company,
Same
which is
artwork, same logos, same everything.
Cedar Fair, right? No, I
Cedar
think
Park?
owns.
I don't know.
Well, I think Cedar Fair is the name of the company. Cedar Park. Yeah,
Well, I
the
don't know
one.
about
The
now.
one.
Now
Yeah, it's like I think.
Paramount owned it for a while, and then it was a private company again. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Anyway, go
think
ahead. You were saying
anywhere, but it doesn't matter. But I remember they had a ride out there called the Beast,
okay.
which was a wooden roller coaster. It was one of the longest wooden roller coasters in the country, and it was just amazing. Actually, it's funny. That was the first media event I ever went to. Was the
Oh,
opening of
okay.
something called the Vortex while I
Okay.
was working at Light 100 WVUD, and we got invited as media to cover the opening of it.
Oh, how great is that? You
So I got
felt,
sent,
felt a
to
little
ride a
special,
roller
didn't
coaster.
you?
Yeah,
Felt
I
felt
know.
a little special.
That
You're
was a
coming
little taste,
in. You don't have to pay to
little
be there.
little something
Oh, sorry, I'm
something.
media. Get my ID.
Yeah,
Blah blah.
media. Yeah, little,
Well, got my lanyard.
badge,
I'm here.
lanyard.
I'm supposed to be here. I'm working.
Yeah, Light 100. I
Meanwhile, you're
might have
walking through
even
an amusement
driven
park
the
going,
Yeah, I know. I might have even driven the station van. I don't remember, but I probably did because I didn't have a car back then. So I
okay.
probably drove the Light 100 van to the opening of
Yeah,
that. Yeah. So it was
Mr.
a
Mr. Middays.
very special time. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was.
It
Number
was a
one, number one, 2554 adults. Just saying.
I don't, dude, you killed
Back
it.
in the
I
day
remember that.
in
You killed it.
college,
I
I
remember
did.
that.
I know.
And then well
That's too funny.
now also growing up where I did, there was and then around the same time, maybe a year later, Busch Gardens
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, Anheuser-Busch Brewery, brewers
Right.
of Budweiser. There was no Bud Light at the time.
Correct.
Decided to open up Busch Gardens. There was already one in Florida. Now they're opening one up in
Yep.
Williamsburg, Virginia, called the Old Country.
The old country.
The
Yes.
Old Country. So each of the sections were based on, old countries, so to speak,
Yep.
like England, but it was like 15th century England called Banbury Cross,
In Germany.
and and then you had Italy was later. What was it? And they weren't called and it wasn't the name of the countries. I'm trying to remember what they were.
They could have made it easy.
Because there was a Scotland and and then each of them had their own ride. But in the Scotland section, which I can't remember what it was called, that's going to make me angry. I'm going to have to look it up.
Loch Ness Monster.
Was the Loch Ness Monster a double loop roller
Unheard
coaster
of.
with interlocking loops?
Stupendous.
You came down one hill and went through the loop, and then went through around the line, and then you went through the other loop on the other side of
Unheard of. Crazy.
I thought I was the greatest human being on the face of the earth. I had mastered the Loch Ness Monster. And this was before they had the Big Bad Wolf and all these they had other great coasters. But man, the Loch Ness Monster put
Dude.
anything over at King's Dominion to shame.
Okay, come
King's
on.
Dominion had the King Cobra, which
Look.
was just a shootout, go through the loop, go back up, come backwards through the loop and back, and then you were done.
Okay.
This was the Loch Ness Monster was
Look.
it. It
Look.
was
I
it.
I had the T-shirt from the Super Duper Looper
From Hershey Park.
from Hershey Park
Hershey Park, happy.
when they
I remember
when they
that.
opened that, and my grandparents took me there, and Grandpa Yag went on the Super Duper Looper with
Oh
me,
my goodness.
which was awesome. I
That
will
was great.
never to this day forget that my grandfather was like, "Yeah, I'm on. I'm good.
I'll
I'm good.
go.
I'm gonna go through this." Like unheard of at that time. Going upside down in a roller coaster,
Right.
it was,
Well,
just you were making history
now didn't the
when you
Super
did it.
Duper Louver have a corkscrew too?
I don't even remember.
I think
I
so.
thought initially it was just a loop.
There was a loop, but there was another feature about it that was nuts.
We're gonna
We'll
have
have
to
to look
look that up and
Yeah, we will. But
do that for the next podcast.
I loved the Loch Ness Monster. And
Yeah,
I liked
I
the
could see
whole
that.
vibe too about, and they were two different parks because then the one, and of course, Dad, it was in Williamsburg, Virginia. So then Dad was all about the
Yeah.
history and, well, we're going to spend one day going to Duke of Gloucester Street. And I'm like, why?
Why?
When it's Busch Gardens is right there. But I had no concept of money that my father was spending. I wasn't spending any of my money. So why would we want to walk around in town for free and talk about the bicentennial? So, but I later developed a love for the for um, Williamsburg, Virginia. I do love it there. It's great. We haven't been back in years. I want to go back. But
Yeah,
anyway,
it'd be worth it to go there.
I
Yeah.
think now you got a boogie on time, John. So we got to get rolling. I can't believe I've.
Yeah, my wife's going to bed. She told me.
Oh no, that's it. You're not gonna. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just saying, but yeah, we're good. So
Well,
I'm
then I
like
do.
I'm like looking up the vortex that I wrote on, and it said it was a steel coaster at Kings Island, designed by Aerodynamics, $4 million. It cost.
Okay.
It opened in April of 1987. It debuted as the tallest full circuit roller coaster in the world with a height of, this is funny, 148 feet. It was also the first coaster to feature 6 inversions
Oh
at that time in
man.
1987. So it was serious, but 148 feet when we've got mega coasters that are well exceeding 200 feet at
Yeah.
this point. But still, yeah, no. So that was it.
That
Pretty
was,
cool.
and then
In
and then
87, by the way, 6 inversions. Can you imagine? I remember riding that and thinking, mind blown, that it can't get any better than this.
well, I mean, I'm riding the Loch Ness Monster in the 70s.
I
So
know
it
this was
was
87.
all
Sorry.
right. That was as a kid. Again, I was a
Yeah.
rock star superhero as a
Yeah.
kid riding all
Yeah.
these coasters. I love, and then in this area, in DC, then they opened up it was called Wild World. And anyway, it was Six Flags. Did you hear Six Flags is closing in DC?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Or did they? No, because I saw
End of this
Six
season.
Flags was planning on consolidating, but I mean they're changing. They're calling it their Great Reset, where they're hoping to expand and grow, but I think they're closing their parks that don't make as much money.
I guess so. And they're closing this one outside
Six
Washington,
Flags
D.C.
America.
Six Flags America,
Yep.
and they're aligned with Warner Brothers. And
Right.
so you had Bugs Bunny and all of that, but you also had the
Wow.
Batwing and Superman the Coaster.
Okay.
Superman the Coaster was pretty decent because you had one huge drop, and the car that you sat in was very low. You still had the belt that came across your lap. I mean, you weren't going anywhere, but the front, there was really nothing to hold on to because the front of
That was a mega coaster.
because you were weightless at the top of the next hill.
Right.
And
So that was over or right. I think Maryland didn't allow you to be at 200 feet, so it was like 199 feet or
Oh,
something.
wow. Okay.
Whatever the maximum was, I seem to remember looking this up at some point in time, and I did ride it. It was good. Although
It was very
that
good.
was the
I really
Superman.
enjoyed it.
The Bat one is wasn't that a flying coaster?
Yeah, that was lay down. Yeah, lay down
Dude,
and
I
slide.
I
The bat wing.
legitimately thought I was gonna fall out of that.
Oh, did you? It was
I
okay.
rode that.
Joker's. I like
It
Joker's Jinx.
that
That was good.
scared the crud out of
Did it
me.
really?
Like, no, it did not feel like I was secured especially well, and it felt like if I didn't hold on really well, I was gonna go flying out of that ride.
I never had any of that feeling. Well, the rebel yell at King's Dominion did. You weren't strapped in. There was
Yeah,
that one bar that you pulled down,
right. Yeah, the lap
and then you
bar.
heard the click, click, click
Click,
as you
click.
were checking it to
Okay.
make sure it was locked in.
Yep,
But
it's locked.
I was a little kid, so
Yeah,
I'm going down this hill, and I'm coming up out of the seat. I'm holding on, and my knees are hitting that bar
right. Yeah, you
coming
weren't going
across. I'm like,
anywhere, but it was
well,
probably
it
pretty
didn't feel like
scary.
it, man. It didn't
Yeah.
feel like I was that secure at all. But man, I love that. I love that. That and the Scooby Doo roller coaster. That was the first one where I actually broke my teeth on them. What is it? You cut my teeth. I couldn't break my teeth. I
I
cut
hope you
my
didn't break
teeth
your
on
teeth. That
these.
would be a lawsuit right
Yeah, that
there.
would be terrible.
Yeah.
On the Scooby Doo coaster, which had a nice little drop. And I thought, well, that's it. If I've mastered this, I have to go to the Rebel Yell. So but now I can't ride coasters anymore because of my heart. But that's all right. I don't really
Oh,
need to.
You can?
No,
No?
not with a heart condition. You can't ride a
I guess, yeah,
I'm an insurance liability, baby. No
you
way.
absolutely are.
Yeah.
Oh, here,
No
I
way.
wanted to just show you this.
Which one's this?
That was Vortex
All right, George,
back in the day.
John, if you're not watching the live and you're just listening to this, he's put up a graphic or a picture rather of
Yeah,
it
back in the day.
looks like a curling snake, really.
That was scary,
I'm
man.
counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There were
Yeah. Because I'm
6
missing
inversions.
the sixth one. That's
I don't
crazy. The thing
1,
I learned, by the
2,
way, in riding
3,
a looping
4,
roller coaster, especially the Loch Ness
2,
Monster, is
3,
when you
4,
go into the loop, you
5.
don't look ahead because all you're going to do is see the people in front of you. You're going to see their heads. Look
Yeah.
to the side and watch
Okay.
the world turn upside down. It was
Okay.
awesome.
All right.
And then I'll close with this. I got
Yeah.
to walk around King's Dominion as a kid like I owned the joint because I was an extra in a movie called Roller Coaster. And
Roller coaster.
no, not that kind. It
Of
starred
love.
George Siegel and Timothy Bottoms. Richard Widmark was in it. It was Helen Hunt's first part ever. I think she was like 13. And part of it was filmed. Well, actually, there were 2 incidences that happened in the movie, and it's about a mad bomber who would go and bomb these roller coasters and kill people.
Oh,
And so he was
I
doing
see.
it for ransom money. And so one of the after the first one that happened at quote unquote Wild World in New Jersey, and that the aftermath of that bomb, you saw the smoke and people pointing at that was actually filmed at King's Dominion. I was in the crowd. They said, make big gestures, so we can see you. And you're just supposed to be pointing and, oh my
Right.
God. And then they had smoke that was coming in front of and that was done on the Eiffel Tower. There's the Eiffel Tower was the big thing in King's Dominion. It's a big, huge tower. And it's, I think, 1/3 the size of the Eiffel Tower, or maybe even 1/5.
Right.
The real
Right.
Eiffel Tower is this unbelievable monstrosity. But and so I was there for that, and then I almost got picked to ride the Rebel Yell all day because there was a shot where George Siegel, the Mad Bomber, is Timothy Bottoms, and he's running George Siegel all over the park because George Siegel has the money. That he's in a briefcase and he's going to drop it off and give it to the Mad Bomber. But the Mad Bomber is running him all over the park to make sure that he's not followed. Of course, he's being followed. And but the establishing shot is the rebel yell going down the first big hill, and then the camera comes down and onto George Siegel. And they had to do that shot, I don't know, 10, 15 times.
Yeah.
So I was not picked for that, but I was one of the kids in the, and I wasn't with mom. Mom was with my younger brother, my baby brother. Actually, it was in a stroller at the time. And I was we were in Hanna-Barbera in this park area, and George Siegel is dropping the money off, and and Timothy Bottoms wasn't in any of the shots, so he didn't have makeup on or anything like that, but he's talking through a megaphone, and it was turned down to like 1. He's talking through a megaphone to give the walkie-talkie sound to the sound guy so he could interact with George Siegel as it was happening. Yeah, they didn't dub him in later. They were using, real practical special effects. And I had a Beatles t-shirt on that I got from Virginia Beach. And it was one of those iron-on ones that had the Beatles. And I'm standing there. Huh?
Which were excellent at the time.
Of course they were. But they made you sweat like right where the iron-on was, the rubber, the decal. So if you took the shirt off, you were completely dry except for that one area where the decal.
I love those. The Farrah Fawcett ones, the Styx logo, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
So I had, but I'm standing right by. They were doing the setup of the shot, and I think they filmed it like 3 or 4 times. And George Siegel just looks at me and he goes, "Good band." And they kept giving.
He said that?
Yeah, to me. And he, because I'm just a kid, I'm just standing there next to him, but I'm trying to get in his eye shot because there's a movie star standing right there. It's crazy. I didn't know who Timothy Bottoms was. He was a young man at the time, and they were the only ones that I met. And Richard Widmark was there on the set, but I never got to meet him. And as a kid, I didn't really know who he was. But filmed the movie. Now you can watch the movie Roller Coaster. I think it's kind of out of print. One of the things, it's on YouTube. Somebody ripped it and put it on YouTube. The whole thing is on YouTube. But you can see my mom walk in that scene where he's dropping off. She walks right in between George Siegel and the camera. There's mom's face, and she's talking with her friend, and she's pushing the stroller with my little brother Greg in it, and it's awesome. It's awesome. I'm in there somewhere. I think you can see my little head just kind of bopping around. I don't really recognize myself as a kid anymore because I'm used to staring at this visage. But so I got to walk around King's Dominion, and it was November, and so you had to act like it was the dead of summer, and so it was still kind of cold. So I had to walk around in a t-shirt and shorts, and they kept giving me popcorn and telling me not to eat it because you're giving because
it was overflowing on the top. So
I'm supposed to. Well, they didn't want to give me any more.
Right,
ate the whole thing. Give me another one. Ate that whole thing. Gave me another one. Prop department was. I made money on that. I have a check stub from Universal Studios. I got paid. I was an extra.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. Mom got paid. I got paid. We all got paid. I still have it. And I forget how much it was. I made like $40-$50, whatever, as a kid.
For being an extra.
That was bank. For 2 days. I was there for 2 days? 2 days, 3 days.
2 days, $50. Deal.
Mom took me out of school to do this.
I mean, quite frankly, I think my parents would have done the same.
And that was the first time.
You're in a movie.
First time I ever had coffee was because I was cold. And the only hot beverages they had, they didn't have any hot chocolate. So I'm like, all right, I'll have a cup of coffee. And I put cream and sugar in it. And I was off to the races then. I was eating all the popcorn that they handed to me. But yeah, and Roller Coaster, the movie Earthquake, and the war movie Midway had the unique distinction of being the only 3 movies that were released in Sensorround. And Sensorround was they were subwoofers. They put
Okay.
subwoofers in the theater,
Oh, right.
so it would
Yeah.
shake you. So as the roller coaster was going by, you felt it. You felt the sense around.
Sense around, presented sense around.
And then later, they were supposed to because this is the height of Kiss's their popularity. And the rumor was that Kiss was supposed to be playing live concert at King's Dominion, but they weren't. And then it was going to be at Magic Mountain. If you watch the movie, then the bomber goes to Magic Mountain, which is in California. And then Kiss didn't do it. So they got this other band called Sparks, which I guess they were an up and coming band. And if you see it, and John, you'll appreciate this. The guy who was emceeing the show for Sparks was Charlie Tuna, who was a DJ.
Charlie Tuna.
Charlie Tuna was a big LA DJ.
Was either that or Cousin Brucey.
Well, Cousin Brucey was East Coast.
I know,
But
right?
Charlie Tuna
Exactly.
was West Coast, and he had a syndicated show, so
One
you
way.
could hear him, wherever.
One or
But
the other. Yeah.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Charlie Tuna was introducing Sparks and did this song called Big Boy. Look it up. It's on YouTube. You can see it.
No.
And the movie Roller Coaster is on YouTube. All right, let's get.
All right.
I was going to get to the new Harry Potter cast, but we'll do that next time.
No, we have no time. We're out of time.
We got to roll. Here we go.
What?
It's time to get the gray matter working. Fire
Oh,
up this
no.
engage
doing
neural
this.
hub, form new neural networks. Utilize the cerebrum. As Pooh says, it's time to
Think. Bing.
ding. It's
All
the-
right.
Dun, dun, dun.
right.
Question of the day. Now, this is for pride, not prize. Let's just get right to it. The American Music Awards were last night.
They were. I saw
The
them.
American Music Awards were invented by
Why?
this entrepreneur in order to combat the Grammy Awards.
Yeah.
This entrepreneur.
I don't have
already-
music to play here.
What's that?
I don't have music to play. Hold
Okay.
on.
Well, anyway,
Go ahead.
this
Keep going.
entrepreneur who used to host a weekly music show, a music and dance show, and also had pretty much cornered the market on New Year's Eve, created these awards just so he could produce it and get the ratings and the money from ABC television. Who is this entrepreneur? One more time. American Music Awards, invented by this entrepreneur who used to host a dance. Do you know what I'm talking about, John?
I know who it is.
You know who it is? Okay.
Yeah, of course.
He's a Philly boy. Used to own this. Used to host this dance and music show on Saturdays, and he pretty much sewn up New Year's Eve. He decided to create these awards as a rival to the Grammys. Who created the American music?
Yes.
He used to have a theme song too. The American music. All right. Put your answers down in the comment section. You three people watching. And
Right.
Good
luck.
luck.
Boo, 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 boo.
You have an answer?
I haven't. Well, yeah, actually, there was an answer online.
Hold on, let's get
I have
right
the
to it
answer
then.
too. Let's get right to it.
Let's get right to it because I'm sure it's
Jim,
right.
who is our
Jim.
marginal only
There it is.
Dick Clark.
The youngest, what is it? The oldest teenager? Dick Clark is correct.
Yes, and
Dick
that is
Clark.
correct.
Correct. Created the American Music Awards because ABC TV and his company did not have the Grammys. They were usually on CBS. So he's like, I'll just create an award.
Well, I love that.
That's what he did.
And he did.
So he did.
So like, yeah, we'll make our own award.
I'll just make my own award.
Voted on by the American people instead
that's
of
that's the people's choice.
No, I think the American Music Award is voted on by American people.
Is
too.
it? I
Yes.
don't know. I thought
I'm
it was
pretty sure. I thought they emphasized that
I
last
think
night.
it was Billboard magazine.
I'm pretty sure Billie Eilish said, this is an award I'm getting, and I'm happy to getting this award because the people.
Hold on. Let's
I'm
go.
Who votes on it? I don't think there's an academy for the American Music Awards.
No, there isn't, but there is.
Who
I think it's the music. Nominees are selected on commercial performance such as sales and airplay. Winners are determined by a poll of the public and fans who vote through the AMA's website.
Boom!
Well, that's new.
That's what I said.
That's new. It didn't used to be. It used to be.
When?
It used to
As
be
of when?
it used to be that the
It used to
People's Choice
be.
Awards was the only one voted on by the public.
Well, that's what I thought. It still is.
This is the American Music Awards.
Oh, no. The Dick Clark, the AMAs, I thought. Well, then I don't know whether that was always that way or not, but I thought it was.
The event originally aired on ABC after the network's contract to air the Grammy Awards expired.
Well, I mean,
so they did this just to rival the Grammys, just to spite the Grammys.
let me just say, God bless Dick Clark. I mean,
right? And then who took over for Dick Clark, who's doing the exact same thing now?
Seacrest, baby.
Gotta love Ryan Seacrest. Gotta love these former radio guys.
I know.
Who become these huge entertainment icons.
And by the way, Seacrest and Soledad O'Brien used to host a show called The Site on MSNBC.
Oh, goodness.
Which originally was launched as a tech channel, not a news channel.
Right. I remember that.
By the way. MSNBC. Yeah, but that was where Seacrest got his big start back in the day. I used to watch him and Soledad.
Ryan Seacrest, and not a lot of people know this.
CNET Central, I think he used to do. Was it? But maybe that's what he did.
The thing that really put him on the map as a huge entertainment producer is he created Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Are you kidding me?
That was a Ryan Seacrest production, correct? On E.
Seacrest, or was it a Dick Clark production by Ryan Seacrest?
Well, I'll have to look that up, but I'm pretty sure it was Ryan Seacrest.
I don't know. I mean, you know, the fact is he has really taken up the mantle of Mr. Clark.
And he still has it's still New Year's Rockin' Eve. It's still Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve.
Which I love, actually.
Hosted by Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah, I like that.
His name is on there. No, I love it. No, he knew.
And who else? For a while, didn't he do? No, maybe that was Shadow Stevens, or does he now do American Top 40?
Shadow Stevens, American? Nah, I don't think so. I think he's out. I think it's Ryan Seacrest. Ryan Seacrest took over American Top 40.
Yeah, I think so too.
He did.
So he took over not only Casey Kasem's spot, but also Dick Clark's spot. Wow.
So he still has his KLOS morning show in Los Angeles.
No, really?
Yes, he still does that. That is syndicated to a bunch of iHeart radio stations, and you can hear the Ryan Seacrest middays here in Washington D.C. on Hot 99.5, which is an iHeart radio station. So he's across the U.S. with that. He's got American Idol, which he is now a producer of, and and now he's hosting Wheel of Fortune.
No, he took over for Sajak.
Yeah, he took over for Sajak. Now Sajak is still hosting the syndicated nighttime version, and he'll be doing and
oh, my head's spinning.
And he's still doing the celebrity.
And where's Vanna?
She's still there? She does both.
Oh, she's got what a gig.
Yeah.
I mean, for her.
I thought she was going to retire with Pat Sajak from The Daily Show, but she did not.
Well, I can't believe he retired only to do the nighttime show.
Well, I'm sorry. It is a nighttime show. He retired to do the celebrity show, the celebrity Wheel of Fortune. Sorry.
Right. But I mean, Seacrest, it's funny. I saw an interview with him, I don't know, it was like a few years back or something like that. And somebody was asking him, about his personal life. And he pretty much said, I got to be honest with you. I don't have time for that. And because of that, I don't feel right getting into a relationship. So, work is my relationship right now.
Ryan Seacrest said this.
Yeah, he said that.
Yeah.
Which,
I remember saying that.
I mean, one part of me is like, oh man, that's sad. But the other part of me was like, Well, at least he's honest with what's going on, and he knows that, this is where he's at, and he's not going to try and juggle too many things or juggle a relationship with all
One
the
will
other stuff that he does and then just disappoint.
one will suffer. One or two or
Yeah,
more
but
will
but
suffer.
but at
Either
the
the
same
relationship
time,
will
at
or
the
the
same
show.
time, you feel a little bit bad for him because he's not.
I do not feel one bit bad for Ryan Seacrest at all.
Dude's probably.
So he came in. He
I
came in
mean,
the hot. He came in the hot 99.5.
oh, I see. I didn't know you had this interaction with Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah,
Go
oh
ahead.
yeah, he came in. He's about my height, I think.
Yeah, he's not a
But he's
big guy.
not a
He's not
big
a big
guy,
dude. No.
but he's also Ryan Seacrest is a mic eater. He
Oh,
says,
I love that.
"Oh, he says right up on the
Oh, I
mic."
love that. What are you talking about, Rod?
You have the windscreen, the big Nerf ball that sits on there, and he was on my mic. He was
Okay.
on my. I was the news guy, and I was the producer on
Right.
Hot 99.5 on the morning show. And so when he came in as a
Funny.
guest, the guest mic was my mic. And so he
Okay.
throws his headphones on and he's talking to Mark and Chris, and he's just,
He was
you know,
comfortable.
yeah,
He just a mic eater. He's
he's a
a
mic eater.
comfortable guy around a microphone. I a little bit respect that.
I totally respect it. He's
I
great.
mean,
I
like he went right in. It's
yeah.
like I'm gonna get right next to the mic. That's where I'm at.
He gave,
I'm
yeah,
comfortable.
and he didn't worry about Lysol or any of that stuff. He knows,
No,
you know,
no.
who knew if my cooties were on this?
He would be on the list of people, like on my weird list of people I wouldn't mind meeting.
Ryan Seacrest?
Yeah, he would be up there.
Oh, and then remember for a while it was the Ryan Seacrest, Kelly Ripa, and Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah, no, he would be on like my alt list. Like, there would be in the
You have
history,
an alt
yeah,
list?
like, well, there would be in history, if I could meet people, I'd obviously want to meet like Walt Disney and things like that. And, maybe famous presidents or famous world leaders or artists, Chris Squire of Yes. Like if I could bring him back from the grave, I would love to meet him. People like that. And then there would be the alt list. Like he would be way up, like, on the alt list.
There isn't anybody really, and I've met a lot of people. I've met
Yeah.
a lot of celebrities, and
Yeah, you've had a
talked
pretty
to
good
them.
life, Ron.
I have, I have. Well,
You've
it's
had a
not
pretty
over.
wonderful life.
It's not over. Okay.
No, but I'm just saying, it's a wonderful life. Like if you look, I did a whole TED talk on this about it being a wonderful life, and it forced me to kind of look back on my career and stuff like that. And then I ended up focusing on everybody else's wonderful life instead of mine, which was a better idea because my wife came up with that, and I was like, oh yeah, that's better. But it forced me to also look at my life experiences, and then I look at what you did, and like you've met Duran Duran,
I did.
like
I
Simon Le
did.
Bon.
Simon Le Bon. Yeah.
Wow,
I've talked to him a couple of times. Yeah.
that would be
Is that for
way up
you?
there. That would be on the main list, way up.
I was talking to somebody. I just interviewed Ricky Skaggs, by the way, the country music legend,
Yeah,
and he from the world of bluegrass, and that was great to
yeah,
to talk with him, and he just has some great stories.
yeah.
And the people of that ilk who are well, and they're well established in their careers, and they've got more years behind them than they do in front of them. And he was,
Right. On the back nine, as it were.
but he's got great. You just let him go, man.
Yeah.
You give them like one question, and man, they're off to the races. And of course, and this guy, he's been doing press for what, longer than I've been alive. So
Sure.
he, of course, he knows exactly how to conduct himself in an interview, and it was great. It was no heavy lifting on my part at all.
No.
It was fantastic.
I love people like that.
Yeah. So Ricky Skaggs, and who else? I got to talk to Colin Mockery just this week from Whose Line Is It Anyway? The great comedic.
Oh, Colin.
improvisation.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool dude. But you know what?
Right.
He wasn't on. I was talking to Colin Mockery, talking about getting into performance, but he wasn't performing,
Oh.
which was awesome. It was great.
Yeah,
it was
that's
great to not, because if he had, I would have felt some stupid obligation to try to perform with him. And I'm not an improv comedian. I'm
No,
not even a comedian.
no,
I'm not
and
even
he's so
close.
good.
Yeah,
So yeah, you'd be no,
exactly.
don't compete with that.
No, not at all. He was just a great guy,
Yeah.
a great person to talk with because he was just himself. And
Mhm.
we were just trying to talk about the show and get people to come out to the show. So
Yeah.
anyway, where was I going with this? So there isn't really. I met Gene Simmons of Kiss
Right. Oh wow, that'd be big for
And
you.
Paul Stanley, and this was
Yeah.
backstage, and they were all in their makeup, and it was a Kiss show.
Mhm.
And I gotta say, I was disappointed. Um,
Oh
but well, that's what he wasn't. He had zero interest in meeting me, none. And
well, I
yeah,
mean,
at that time,
I
I'm
get it.
sure
Yeah, I
things have
mean,
changed, but at that time, Paul Stanley was a nice guy, and I did get to meet Steven Tyler, and I met Joe Perry. And I thought I had an in with Joe Perry because I was like, oh man, I really love the Spider-Man. He did there was a animated TV series Spider-Man in the late 80s, early 90s. And he did the theme song.
okay.
And I'm like, man, I love that theme song you did for Spider-Man. And he's like, oh, cool, thanks. And he moved on. I'm like, I thought I had him. I thought I thought I had
Done.
something to, yeah. But
Another direction.
that was cool. The way they did that is the way they conducted that backstage was great because what they did was they walked everybody through and did the step and repeat in front of the big banner, right? And everybody got their picture taken.
Yep.
And then they said, okay, the band's going to come and just going to hang out with you guys and have a few drinks and just chat and talk with whomever you want. And because they were casual, everybody else was casual.
Okay.
And it was chill. I mean, it was like Steven Tyler's there and turns around and I said hi and I shook his hand and I said, yeah, dude, your music has been a major part of my life, throughout my life. And he was cordial and nice and calm and everybody was just kind of, chilling. And because they conducted it like that, it was a great backstage and had a lot of fun. I don't even know why I got on that. How did I
I
get
know.
on the tangent? We were talking about
I,
meeting people.
I
Anyway.
know.
All right. So let's call it. Oh, we went way over. John, I'm sorry about that, dude. You're gonna,
It's all right.
but John's had a cocktail, by the way, just so you know. Did you finish? You finished.
There's a little bit.
There's
A little bit.
I opted not to have one.
Well,
But I was going to have one and match you with that because on the podcast at night takes on a different
yeah, it's at night,
a little bit. It's at night.
and I'm traveling, so
He's a traveling John. He's made a lot of stops all
Ron
over
and I
the
are all
world.
coiffed for a
I know we have our
evening. Look at us, nighttime vibe.
right at night. All right, so we will have the same. hopefully, we'll be back at the same bat time, same
Next week,
bat
yes.
channel next week, which will be June 3rd.
Yeah, I
Which
think
will
we're
be
good.
is it June 3rd or June 2nd?
I think we're good for that week and the week following. The
Hold
the
on.
one after that might be a little
Time
sketchy.
out, John. I need my calendar here. What's next week? Is next week the 3rd?
I think it's something like that.
It is June 3rd, which
Yep.
will be my 35th wedding anniversary.
Woohoo! 35.
So we may move it.
Oh,
I might be doing.
is that what we're
I don't know. Maybe
in the morning though?
I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, if it were at night, I don't.
No. I think we'll. And then the week after that would be Carolina's birthday, the 10th.
Okay.
Yeah, those are a week. June is a crazy month because you've got our anniversary, and then and then both daughters' birthdays are in June, and
Wow.
Father's Day is sandwiched in the middle there. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that,
just keeps one thing after the other.
Forget
All right, John. Look,
All
go to
right.
bed.
Yep.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and thank you so much for putting up with us. And I really enjoyed going on that amusement park trip down memory lane. Look for the movie Roller Coaster. It's on
fun.
YouTube.
Yeah.
And Helen Hunt's in it, and is it Timothy Bottoms? George Siegel. George Siegel's got a little mustache.
Helen Hunt.
He plays Harry Calder, I believe is his name. He's
Great movie.
he's a roller coaster inspector,
Oh,
and it's the one that yeah, he's not a cop,
okay.
but he gets
He's an
pulled
inspector.
into it by Timothy Bond.
Something nefarious going on at the roller coaster.
Yeah, it's
All right.
I never got sucked into the whole thing because I knew all the whole backstory of the whole thing,
All right.
and I knew who the guy was who did it. You don't see him through the whole movie until the very end. You only see like his lower until the very end at which is at Magic Mountain with the band
Right.
Sparks and the song
Sparks.
Boy. Yeah, look it up. It's a lot of fun. All right, John, listen. Please take care of yourselves and each other. Please be safe. That dude over there is Mr. Everything, John Uglinski. Ron Ross, love you, mean it. Bye. Yeah, you good, John?
I don't know. I'm looking.
John's had an old fashioned.
No, I'm
Love you,
like
mean it. Bicycle.
the Janet Jackson.
Oh, I
Control
got it. Right. We are a part of the
with the
rhythm
rhythm
nation.
nation.
Okay. All right.
That's it.
All right.
Exactly. All right.